Hi, thanks for joining us. This is Live with Miami's Community News. I'm Michael Miller, and our guest today is Robert Asencio, former State Representative District 118. Welcome.
Welcome.
And we had invited current Commissioner Joe Martinez. He was not able to make it. So, Robert, why are you running?
The show's mine, right?
Yes. So why are you running for County Commission?
Oh man, Michael, as a taxpayer, as a stakeholder in the county, I think we deserve better. We deserve a commissioner that is representative of the community and is going to focus on the issues. I'll say this much about the commissioner. He's been in office for an extended amount of period of time. Altogether, I believe it's close to 16 years, and we still face the same difficulties and same hardships out in West Kendall. So that's all I'll say about him.
Okay.
So I like to concentrate on what I bring to the table. As you know, I've served in the military 6 years, Army Reserves here in South Florida. In the early 80s, during the Cold War era, I was in the Special Operations Unit. So we knew what it was to fight for democracy and to serve our nation amongst the best in the country. Following my service with the military, I went to work for Miami-Dade County Public Schools, where I rose through the ranks, and I retired as a police captain. But it's been a high honor in my life to serve the county, protecting our children, but also holding government accountable.
You had mentioned that you were in the service. I understand that Michael Carricard
Yes.
was he? Correct me if I have it wrong. Your commanding officer?
At one point, yeah, Michael. Oh my God, Michael's a great guy. So I'll tell you a quick story. We went up to New York, to Buffalo, New York. Very cold in Buffalo, and then we were at Fort Drum, to be specific, and we were deployed out in the field, and we got snowed in. We were supposed to be out in the field for a couple hours, and I had the pleasure of spending like 3 days with Michael in weather that was so bad. I mean, the temperature was sub-zero. The ability for that unit to accomplish its mission was just incredible. And at a very early age, me as a young adult, I learned very quickly, there's not much that we can accomplish if we put our minds together and we have a commitment to it. And Michael was a great mentor. Was a great commander. He's a phenomenal businessman. For those of you that have done business with him, he's an incredible businessman. So,
and I just found out that he used to run marathons.
That I did not know.
Yeah, and we see him frequently around town. So you talked about some things in Kendall. What are some of the things that you think that people want to get done in Kendall?
I think more importantly is what are the people telling me, right?
Yes.
What are my constituents saying? As you know, I served a district, part of the district. There were 10 overlapping precincts in Commission District 11. So as I go out into the district and I'm speaking with people, they're telling me, man, affordable housing is a big issue. People who've owned homes in Kendall, they're having a hard time owning their homes. So you ask them why. And a lot of them, whether they're young, middle-aged, or older people, are saying there's a lot of underemployment and underpaid work. People are having to leave the district. That leads me to the second problem. The second problem is transit, or traffic, caused by transit. We're paying for half a penny sales tax. We've been paying a half a penny sales tax in the county since early 2000, I believe 2002. Over $1 billion have been collected, but yet we have a disaster of a transit system. And out in West Dade, it's non-existent. I mean, try sitting in the middle of an afternoon waiting for a bus.
And the current commissioner there did vote for the Kendall Parkway, as did a majority of the commission. But you are right. The people in Kendall got stiffed by the current commission. Sorry, guys, that's the truth, all right? And so now it looks like that road may never be built.
Or if it got built, how long will it take to build it, right? But our needs are right now. And then, there are those that say building roads will not bring growth, but we know better. If you look at the urban development plans and you look at the county, any developing community, as you put roads in, people use them. So we're not meeting the immediate needs. And as we know, southwest, or actually the southern part of the county, Homestead, going towards Homestead, there's mass development in housing. Well, more people moving out into the county. I believe Miami-Dade is amongst the top 5 counties or metropolitan areas in the country that are fastest urban growth, that are experiencing fastest urban growth. That's worth re-mentioning. So that means that we have more people. And if we don't have work and high wage jobs that are helping people stay in their community, they're going to travel. And that's a no-brainer. What do we have? Traffic. We have the gridlock on the turnpike. We have the gridlock on the expressways. And then add the fact, and I'm going to segue to something, the battle for control over MDX now, that the state, members of our own delegation from Miami-Dade County, state legislators, are fighting the county to take over the MDX, or the legislature to take over the MDX. Not necessarily with a plan to fix it. So that in itself has paralyzed, because there's a lawsuit, as you know. There was an article that came on today, it talked about the fact that our bond ratings have gone down. And by the way, those are the loans that we take out or guarantee to build out the roads. And when the ratings go down, our interest rates go up. Who puts that bill? We do, the taxpayers.
So I know just a little bit about enough to get into trouble, which was the state essentially forced MDX to lower the rate. Also, the new state law said if there's any profit, any leftover money, it could not stay with MDX. It had to go to build the new turnpike road to nowhere. If it continues like that, whatever the entity is, whether it's GMEX or MDX, it will be a maintenance organization. They're not going to be able to build the roads, all right? Because there won't be any money to do that. Down south, Palmetto Bay, Cutler Bay, Florida Senior Homestead, they're now a group is being led by the mayor of the county, who said, you guys down there couldn't put it together, so we're going to take over our roads. We're going to let you participate, but there are roads, and we're going to do what we need to do to move the traffic out from down there. Cutler Bay's huge growth the last couple of years. Dade County's traffic growth since 2014 has been over 25%. The people in Homestead, where it's affordable, they have to drive north of Kendall Drive. So transportation is a tough issue. One of the things that's been brought up is for the county to be more supportive of putting up industrial parks, office parks in Homestead, so people that can live near where they work. Is there any place out west that could be done? Meaning out?
Sure, absolutely. But I want to go back to something. So I have a little bit of experience with MDX and the economic hardship that they've caused. Some of our the people who have to drive through the tolls. A year I pay about over $1,000, and I'm sure I'm not in the minority. I'm sure that many people pay that and more. That puts an incredible hardship on your budget at home. So while I was in the legislature, I introduced a piece of legislation, an amendment to a piece of legislation that wanted to codify the 3% rebate to return for anybody that uses MDX or the SunPass roads or MDX roads. It would give them 3% rebate. But how much relief is 3%? Is it really genuine relief, or is it just a political point? What I introduced was based on the financials that MDX was publishing at the time. I saw that they needed a small percentage for overhead, and based on the financials they were producing or they were publishing on the website, that we can provide a 50% rebate. Well, I quickly found that was impossible. That if we do provide a significant rebate to SunPass user on the MDX roads, we will cost the county to default on those bonds. And then we, the taxpayers, are going to be responsible for those dollars. So it's not that we have a bad system, it's that we have people in policy, in the position of creating policies, that have not created the right policies, or maybe have not created the policy with long-term view of the growth and projected growth. What we need is policy creation that's going to account for this urban growth that we have. The volume of housing is not commensurate, is not equal to the volume of employment that we have in West State. So coming to your question, West State, West Kendall specifically, we often think we're forgotten out there in West Kendall. As a matter of fact, there is a move by some to incorporate that portion of the county. That's an issue for the voters. I say let's give our area, our district, the services it's paying for. So do we have land that we can repurpose that's within the urban development zone? Yes. Do we have areas that we can bring eco-friendly, corporate responsible companies to the area? I say yes. And I'll give you an example. While I was in the legislature, my biggest push was on workforce development, education and workforce development, continuous education and workforce development. Why? Because we know that if we train people, their marketability will go up. And we have a great workforce in Miami-Dade County. We have great universities. We have Miami-Dade, we have a great university, State University, FIU, right in the district. We have the south. We have other universities to the north. We have Miami-Dade College, just outside the district. We have Dade County Public Schools, incredible vocational system. So I looked at, with a collective group of people, what were the industries that would be most desired to come to Southwest Miami-Dade. And we found that South Florida, for aviation, is the MRO hub of the state. What does that mean? Maintenance, repair, and overhaul. But we went to the Florida Chamber of Commerce and we looked at the industries that were emerging industries, targeted industries that drive our economy. And then we went and we spoke with some of the people, and specifically advanced manufacturing in aerospace. Why aerospace? Because aerospace is the quickest growing industry in the state. And we found that companies, these are multi-billion-dollar companies, were setting up shop in the state of Florida, but they need the supply chain because they will be starting in the near future to build out the space station. But not just that, they continue space explorations, private, public, venture. So as these companies grow, who's going to feed into that pipeline, or that pipe chain? We know that South Florida plays an incredible role. Take District 11, Commissioner District 11. We have what used to be called the Tamiami Airport. Now it's called the Executive Airport. Its growth has been held back. There are people at that airport negotiating right now that have been negotiating for 10 years to obtain a lease. They can't expand. We don't want to turn it into an international airport. But we know that it's a small airport, executive airport, and we can have greater business. What does that mean to the local economy? That means jobs. That means money. For every pound of fuel that's sold, the county gets a tax revenue. I think it's 8 cents a gallon, or I'm sorry, 8 cents a pound. Think about the sales just alone in fuel. But we have to look at what does that do for transportation. We have the rail. We haven't been utilizing the rail correctly. There's some that say it's cost prohibitive. But like I said, in the military, we learn if you don't try and you're voting against growth and you're voting against issues that are being presented to the county that would help the community without providing a solution, then you're just taking up space.
Yes. So, and as far as down south in Homestead, we were talking to a big farmer. He said his biggest challenge right now, because of the tightening of immigration at the border, is he doesn't have enough people that want to work the fields. He says, what am I going to do? So it's an interesting quandary. So the borders get tight, the people are afraid to go work, they're afraid they're going to wind up getting deported, so they sort of hide out. So the farmer says, I have bills to pay, what am I going to do? And then they put a for sale sign up. Then the county commission has to make a decision whether to make it tough for them, and you have people that want more agriculture. So it certainly is connected in a lot of ways. Now, one of the things that I believe the Commissioner Cava has is she started an incubator. Mm-hmm. And I'm vaguely familiar with it. I know they do that. People in the beginning, they go out and they try to figure out what to do. And the Cutler Bay Business Association, which is from small and they welcome small businesses to teach them how to get involved. Certainly West Kendall, I don't see that, all right? By the time they get to the local chamber out there, business association, they better be in full bloom. And perhaps there's some things that can be done out there to get these people that are from 18 to 30 that are trying to figure out what they want to do. And any thoughts along that are not connected to the aviation field?
Oh my God, there's a ton of areas. So manufacturing, there's a new industries emerging now. It's enviro manufacturing. You know, we have the issue of algae bloom, we have environmental concerns. Well, there's manufacturing that we can do with natural items, organic grown items that can help mitigate and manage some of those environmental issues, but we're looking at the STEM area. So I wanted to point something out. West Kendall. Population. You just mentioned 18 to 30?
Yeah.
Okay. So if we take a little bit older. We're looking at those that are coming out of school with tuition debt. Those that come out of Miami-Dade generally come out with very little tuition debt. Those that go on to other schools, higher learning, levels of learning, depending on what schools they go, they come back with proportionate debt. There's an exodus of population in our district that's between the age of 22 to 38. Those are the people that are coming out of school, high tuition debt, student loan debt. I still owe on my student loan and loans. And they're forced to leave because they can't afford to live in the area. But affordability is relevant to what you're earning. So their jobs. So are there programs? Yes. As a matter of fact, West Kendall Baptist has a program. It's called West Kendall Healthy Program. And what they're trying to do is they're trying to bring companies to the area or develop the companies that are in that area so that people are healthier because they're living, playing, and working in that environment. That's a great initiative, but I think the county has missed the boat because we should have been planning programs like this and should have been promoting programs like this, development of programs like this long ago. We're in the year 2020. We have an emerging economy. You mentioned about the farm growers or the agro community. The Redlands Homestead used to be the number 2 agro grower in the state of Florida. Our economy in the state of Florida grows in 3 manners: agriculture, tourism, and sales tax. Well, I will tell you that ranking of Southwest Miami-Dade, Homestead, Redlands has probably been reduced because I know that the farmers, it's not just immigration. Immigration is one piece, but we're looking at the tariffs that they're paying, the cost that it's costing them. How much does it cost a tomato grower? And we used to have about 4 tomato growers. Now I think we're down to 1 because the second one was looking at privatizing. They want to be able to create value of the land. It's cheaper to import tomatoes than it is to go from seed to table, right? Well, we have a community that's emerging, that's transforming. Can we use those lands to grow better food? Can we use those lands? Can we create partnerships, public-private partnerships, to be able to provide healthier, better food? And don't forget, we're in the middle of Hurricane Alley.
Yes.
We have climatic weather pattern change. I'm not saying climate change, but we have climate changes that will affect us. They affect the growth of food.
Well, I'm glad you brought that because South Miami Hospital and Baptist own a large chunk of vacant land right up the street from here. And from what I understand, until they put a building on it, they're going to actually put a farm on it and grow local vegetables.
Community farming, is that
yes,
what you call it?
Yes.
Urban farming?
So very exciting to see that they were doing that rather than looking at this rough terrain. A few years ago, Joe Martinez voted against the ban of conversion therapy for, I want to make sure I have right, LGBT minors. I know things change and life changes, and I think 20 years ago or 25 years ago, I didn't inhale, don't ask, don't tell. So and you look at it now, how things have changed. Ultimately, the commissioner changed his mind on that. Let's say there's something that you think is sort of on the verge of becoming more common and that you don't have a problem with. How would you express yourself and then to vote on something that today might be unacceptable, but in a couple of years, you just know in your heart that it's the right way to go?
Wow. That's an issue that really troubles me, because if we look at it from the medical standpoint, from the science point, there are quite a few studies that outweigh those that say that there's pros to conversion therapy. The majority of the studies that I've seen or read about will tell you that it doesn't work, and some of the conversion therapy can go from counseling all the way up to barbaric actions of shock therapy. We have a modern society, we have a civilized nation, civilized county.
Yes.
Is that the best we can come up with? I say not.
And we were talking with some folks from SAVE the other day, and we started talking about Indiana Bryant. Remember her?
Yes.
And it's like, and that was just 35 years ago. So we've made a lot of big changes. There are more people that are out and not embarrassed about it. This 9-year-old boy goes and sees what's his name, Buttigieg, and says he wanted the world to know that he was gay. And 9 years old, right? That's terrific that this young man doesn't have to hide anymore because he's told everybody. So, but one of the things that we'd like to try to figure out is you come from a police background and you investigate a lot of people.
Quite a bit.
Right. Do you think that in the politics, generally speaking, in South Florida, that if you were going to rate it as far as being pristine, clean, 100%, and totally corrupt, where do you suppose that's at? And if it was there, where do you think we would need to make some adjustments in the way that we enforce the laws?
Wow. So what I learned very quickly. Now, mind you, I come from a police background where it's either you're a law violator or you're a law abider. And I go into the legislature. There's a lot of gray. You have the offer of money for not personal money to put in your pocket, but to campaigns. And we know that money is what runs campaigns. And these campaigns become quite expensive. My last campaign cost about $400,000. And a county commission race, we're looking at probably around there. For a position that pays $6,000, right? So the money in politics is a big issue, right? Because what happens is industries that lobby, they pay big money to lobby, to pass legislation, to enact laws that benefit them or go against others.
And 100% legal.
It's legal.
Yes. 100%.
Yes. So we have to look at that. But I think the bigger issue, and that's an issue that's going to take a long time to resolve. We're nowhere near resolving. No matter what anyone says, we're nowhere near resolving that. And I'm a realist. I think the biggest issue here is, who do we elect? Do we elect people or continue to re-elect people? Right? You don't know. Sometimes you don't know who you elect. But if the person continues to vote against your interest, then why do we continue to vote for them?
And at first I was against term limits, but I'm really happy now. It was like really hard to, and we had some folks who said, your clock is ticking. Come November, you have 8 years maximum to get it done, whatever it is. And I hope that you get what you're looking for, and I want to wish you lots of good luck with that. And my regards to your family.
Thank you, sir.
And thank you for joining us today. And we want to thank Brian Hernandez behind the camera over there, making sure this happens really good. And we're going to say goodbye. We're going to look right over this camera right here. And then we're going to say, Brian's looking at me right now. He says, I'm so bad. All right. But we're trying to have a good time over here. And Robert Asencio, former state rep, he's running for county commission.
Can I give him a website?
Yes.
It's robertasencio.com. If you want to call, 786-708-1762. We want to hear from you.
Have a great day, folks. Now I'm supposed to say goodbye.